Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zazul Munawir, and I'm from Faculty of Law. Today, uh, I will translate it. Our lecturer, Mr. Rahmatullah Ja'far, about Pancasila as the state ideology. I hope you guys can enjoy these meetings, and if there's some under under misunderstanding, I hope you guys can ask Mr. Rahmatullah Ja'far for the ideal lecturer. So this is Mr. Rahmatullah Ja'far. Before we start, we will talk about learning objectives. The first one, understand various concepts about state ideology. The second one is this is very important because ideology is a set of systems that every citizen believes in the life of society, nation, and state. The belief system is formed through a long process because ideology involves various sorts, such as culture, religion, and the thoughts of figures. We will talk about ideology. First one, what is ideology? In the big Indonesian dictionary, ideology is defined as systemized collection of concepts which is made into the principle of opinion and then which provides direction and purpose for survival, and ideology is also defined as the way of thinking of a person or group. Then ideology can define as the understanding, theory, and goals which constitute a socio-political program. Some important component in an ideology, namely the first one is system, the second one is direction, the third one is purpose, the fourth one is way of thinking, and then program, and the last one social and political. This five is the important component in ideology. So we can conclude that ideology is a set of systems that become the rationale for every citizens in the life of society, nation, and state. The second topic is we talk about the style of ideology because there is a lot of style, a lot of method in ideology. We will learn about it. The first one is tracing the ideology of the word with its various characteristic. So, uh, from this four uh, style of ideology, there is various characteristic that more different than the other. The first one is Marxism by Lenin. So it called Marxism, Leninism. The second one is liberalism. Uh, the third one is socialism, and the fourth one is capitalism. The first one is by Lenin. We can understand that this style of ideology is an understanding that puts ideology in the perspective of historical evolution, which is based on two principles. The first one is the ultimate determinant of social change is the change in the mode of production. The second one is the process of social change is dialectical. So the process to social change in the society is dialectical, and then the ultimate determinant of social change is in the mode of production. The second one is liberalism, an understanding that places ideology in the perspective of individual freedom, meaning that it prioritizes individual rights. So, this ideology more specific in freedom of individual priorities individual right. So, it's more like every citizen can do whatever they want and they can do freedomly. So this ideology more specific prioritize individual rights that has centered in the PowerPoint. The third one is socialism, an understanding that puts ideology in the perspective of public interest. This means that the state is obligated to improve the welfare of the entire community, or what is known as the concept of welfare state. So it is more specific in public interest. So every citizens must be socialism in every uh, people in the entire community, or what is known as the concept welfare state. The fourth one is capitalism. This one is similar but in liberalism, but it's more specific. An understanding that gives freedom to every individual to master the economic system with the capital capabilities they has. So it is more freedom, but all the economic system is systemized by the government. So we talk about the essence of Pancasila as the state ideology in the third chapter. The essence of Pancasila as the state ideology has dimensions as follows. The first one is reality, and the second one is ideality. The third one is normality, and the last one is flexibility. So this four is the dimensions of the essence of Pancasila as the state ideology. The first one is the reality, contains the meaning that the basic values are contained in him, derived from real values that live in the community. This implies that the value Pancasila is sourced from the value of Indonesian life at the same time is also meaningful. That the value of Pancasila must be answered in real everyday life, both in relation to social life and in all aspects of state administration. The second one is ideality, contains ideals to be achieved in various fields of life as a society, nation, and state. This means that the basic values of Pancasila contain objectives to be achieved so that it raises hope and optimism and is able to inspire motivation to realize goals of the state. The third one is the normality. Ideology contains values that are binding on society in the form of norms or rules that must be obeyed, which are positive in nature. The last one is flexibility. Contains relevance or strange that stimulates people to develop basic new thoughts about the value contained therein. Pancasila is an open ideology because it is democratic and contains internal dynamics, inviting and stimulating citizens who believe in it to develop new thought without worrying about losing themselves. So, Pancasila, we can conclude that this is the open ideology and democratic ideology that contain internal dynamics without losing themselves. The fourth topic is the urgency of Pancasila as the state ideology. Ideology contains basic values, norms, and ideals that adherence what to realize. Therefore, ideology as a role as the basis. The next one is as a God. The third one is as a purpose. The first one is Pancasila as the basis, as the base of rejection, principle or foundation on which all activities of the life of the community, nation, and states are built. The basis is generally derived from the value developing and living in the society in itself. Therefore, uh, it's related with the dimension of reality. The, the second one is as a direction or as a guide. This means that as the regulator and controller of the life of the state, community, and nation, in the form of norm or rules that must be obeyed so that the direction to achieve the goals and objective doesn't divide. Therefore, this direction uh, related with dimension of normality. The third one is as a purpose. This means that all the activities, the life of the state, budget ultimately lead to a goal or ideals contained in the Pancasila ideology as the national ideology, which will provide motivation and enthusiasm to carry out nation building in a fair and balanced manner to achieve a goal set in the 1945 Constitution. This means as a purpose is related to dimension of ideality. So the role of the state ideology lies not only in the formal legal aspects, but also must be represented in the concrete life of the community itself. Some of the concrete roles of Pancasila as ideology are follows. The first one is the ideology of the state as a guide for citizens, which means that every citizen's behavior must be based on moral prescriptions. The second one is state ideology as a rejection of values that are not in accordance with the principles of Pancasila. So I hope you guys can understand what I have present. Uh, I apologize that there is a misunderstanding what I have presented. So if there's some questions about Pancasila as the state of ideology, I suggest you to ask our lecturer, Mr. Rahmatullah Ja'far, as the chief of civics in Faculty of Law. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.